You see her across the room in the dress that seems poured onto her body, in the heels that redefine the laws of physics, with makeup that sculpts light and shadow. And you, as a man, are programmed to read the signal, a signal of beauty, of allure, of availability. You interpret it as a message, a broadcast, maybe even an invitation. You think it's for you. You are mistaken. And this mistake, this fundamental misinterpretation of the most powerful language on earth, is the source of a silent, gnawing frustration for modern men. What you are witnessing is not fashion. It is marketing. It is a biological, sociological masterpiece of value signaling, a strategic campaign waged in a war you may not even know you are fighting. You are not the target audience for the advertisement. You are merely a data point in its market research. The stunning display you see is rarely a simple come hither. More often, it is a complex broadcast aimed at rivals, at a social hierarchy, and at a future, hypothetical ideal investor who may not even be in the room. This is not a book about fashion tips. It is a decoding manual for a language of illusion. It is a field guide to the psychological battlefield of modern attraction. I am not here as a detached cultural critic. I am here as a whistleblower for the man who feels a constant, low-grade confusion. The man who follows what he perceives as a clear signal, only to walk into a wall of ice. The man who is made to feel like a predator for simply responding to a stimulus he was biologically engineered to notice. We are going to pull back the curtain on this grand performance. We will dissect the difference between dressing for seduction and dressing for status. We will analyze why a woman's most provocative displays are often a declaration of war on other women, not an invitation for men. We will explore the harsh truth that you are often just the background audience, whose validation is collected as currency for a transaction that has nothing to do with you. In these pages, I will expose the subtle mechanisms of this marketing machine. We will call the tools by their names: perceived scarcity, rivalrous display, the for-me fallacy, and status calibration. These are not mere concepts. They are the invisible weapons in a game of sexual economics. This is your wake-up call. This is the moment you stop being a confused consumer of a product that isn't for you and start becoming a strategist who understands the market. The pain you feel is not your fault. It is the psychological whiplash from living in a hall of mirrors. I am here to shatter the glass. Let me introduce you to Alex. If you met him, you'd see a man who did everything right, according to the rule book he was given. At 31, he is a talented software engineer, a man whose world is built on logic, on clear inputs and predictable outputs. If A, then B. He is in good shape, reads widely, is a loyal friend, and treats women with a genuine respect instilled in him by a formidable mother. Alex is, by all reasonable standards, a good man. He is also profoundly, exhaustingly confused. His confusion stems from a fundamental disconnect. His logical mind is short-circuiting in the face of the modern mating market. He sees signals that, in any other area of life, would have a clear and direct meaning. But here, they seem to be written in a code whose key is constantly changing. Picture him last Saturday night. He's at an upscale rooftop bar with friends, the kind of place where the city lights glitter below. He's not there to hunt. He's there to socialize, to decompress. Then he sees her. Let's call her Chloe. She is a masterpiece of modern marketing. She wears a silk slip dress, a slash of crimson against the dark lounge. It's a garment of calculated risk, revealing enough to command attention while maintaining an aura of untouchable class. Her hair, her makeup, her posture, every detail is a meticulously crafted data point that screams times high-value asterisk. Alex's brain, a logical machine, processes the input. The signal is overwhelming. Asterisk. I am confident. I am sexual. I am here to be seen. Asterisk. In his world of if A, then B, the logical conclusion is that this display is, on some level, an opening, a sign of social availability. It is a green light in a sea of amber and red. After a while, he catches her eye. He waits. He sees what he interprets as a fleeting smile. He follows the social script he has learned. Be confident, not arrogant. Be direct, not creepy. He waits for a moment when she is alone, and he approaches calmly. "Excuse me," he says, his voice steady. "My name's Alex. I just wanted to say that dress is absolutely stunning. You have incredible style." He has done everything right. He complimented her choice, not her body. He was polite. He was non-threatening. Chloe looks up from her phone, her eyes scanning him with the cool, rapid efficiency of a barcode reader. There is no warmth. The fleeting smile is gone, replaced by a mask of bored indifference. "Oh, okay, thanks," she says, and immediately looks back down at her screen, a crystal-clear signal of dismissal. The conversation is over before it began. Alex stands there for a beat, the engine of his social logic stalling completely. He gives a tight nod and walks away, a familiar, hot sting of humiliation and confusion creeping up his neck. His mind races. Asterisk. What did I do wrong? Was it what I said? Was it my shirt? Am I just not attractive enough? Asterisk. He looks back at her. She is still radiating the same powerful signal to the entire room, a lighthouse sweeping its beam over everyone. Yet the shore around her seems to be lined with jagged rocks. He is an engineer trying to solve a problem with the wrong formula. He thinks he is engaging in a social interaction, but he has just failed an initial screening for a high-stakes merger. He doesn't understand that the marketing display was not an advertisement for a product available for purchase. It was the launch of an IPO, designed to create a buzz, drive up perceived value, and attract only pre-approved, high-level investors, and he has just been politely, brutally informed that he doesn't have the capital to even sit at the table. This is the story of Alex, and it is the story of millions of men lost in the grand illusion, and it is for them that we must now decode the truth. You think you are the audience. You believe the performance is for your benefit. In truth, you are often little more than the scoring system in a viciously competitive game being played between women. You are the judges, yes, but you are not the prize. To understand the crimson dress, you must first understand this invisible battlefield. This is the principle of intrasexual competition, the primal, evolutionary contest times within times one sex to gain access to the most desirable members of the other. The harsh, biological truth is that a woman's most potent rival for the highest value mate is not his indifference. It is another high-value woman. The marketing campaign you witness on a Saturday night is often less of a sales pitch aimed at you and more of a hostile takeover bid aimed at every other woman in the room. Let's return to the rooftop bar. We saw the scene through Alex's eyes, focusing on his interaction with Chloe. Now, let's rewind and watch it with the lens of a strategist. When Chloe walked in, Alex saw a beautiful woman. What he failed to see was the subtle ripple effect she had on the female population of the room. He missed the quick, analytical glances from other women, the rapid scans that assessed the threat level, cataloging the dress, the shoes, the confidence. He missed the almost imperceptible shifts in their posture, the slight self-consciousness that suddenly entered their smiles. This was the real first contact, and it was a declaration of war. Her stunning display of value, her fitness, youth, and confidence, all masterfully packaged, served two strategic functions in this war. First, it was a deterrent. It was a broadcast to her rivals that said, "The level of competition in this environment has just been raised. Reevaluate your position. Perhaps you should not compete here tonight." Second, it was a move to monopolize the most valuable resource in the room: attention. By drawing the collective gaze of the men, she starves her rivals of it. The male attention itself is the currency of social dominance. She doesn't have to talk to any of the men. She just has to prove that she times can asterisk. When Alex approached her, he unknowingly became a pawn in this larger game. Chloe's cold, swift dismissal of him was not necessarily about him at all. It was a public demonstration of power, broadcast to her rivals. By rejecting a perfectly acceptable man like Alex with zero effort, she signaled that her standards were astronomically high, that her options were limitless. She was not just rejecting a man, she was elevating her own stock price in front of her competitors. Alex wasn't the potential customer. He was the free sample she casually threw away to show everyone how rich she was. This is why the logic of a man like Alex is destined to fail. He operates on a model of direct, intersexual communication man to woman. He is trying to solve a simple equation, but the game being played is a multidimensional chess match of intrasexual competition, woman to woman. He thinks he is responding to an advertisement, not realizing the ad's primary purpose was to demoralize the competition and assert market dominance. You must learn to see this battlefield. It is subtle, it is silent, but it is everywhere. The woman in the stunning dress is not a damsel waiting for a suitor. She is a queen on the chessboard, and her opening move is almost always to neutralize the other queen. Until you understand this, your role in the game is, and will always be, that of a pawn. You have been trained your entire life to misread the most critical signal a woman sends. You have been conditioned to see a display of sexuality as a display of seduction. You equate the provocative with the personal. This is the single greatest error in your decoding. You are confusing the noise of a public broadcast with the whisper of a private invitation. You must learn the crucial difference between a woman signaling times status times and a woman signaling times seduction asterisk. They are not the same language. In fact, they are often mutually exclusive. Seduction is a targeted weapon. It is intimate, specific, and designed for an audience of one. It is the subtle glance held a second too long, the slight lean into your personal space, the direct question that shows she is interested in times you asterisk, not just in being seen. Seduction is a closed-door negotiation. Status signaling, on the other hand, is a billboard. It is a loud, public, and impersonal broadcast of value. The crimson dress, the punishing heels, the perfect makeup. These are not signals of sexual availability. They are signals of discipline, resources, and social dominance. That dress is expensive, or looks at signaling financial resources. Her body is fit, a testament to hours in the gym, signaling discipline and health. Her grooming is immaculate, signaling time and attention to detail. This is not an invitation to bed. This is a C. V. A resume of her value as a high-tier asset in the brutal economics of the mating market. Let's revisit Alex and Chloe at the bar. Alex saw Chloe's dress and interpreted it as a signal of seduction. He thought the billboard was a personal letter. He failed to understand that he was not the intended recipient of the message. He was simply part of the delivery mechanism. Chloe's marketing campaign required an audience to function. Her high-value display was meaningless in an empty room. It needed validation. When Alex and every other man in that bar turned to look at her, they provided that validation. Their collective gaze was the proof of concept. It was the market data that confirmed the success of her broadcast. She used their attention to fuel her real objective, asserting her status to her female rivals and creating an aura of desirability so powerful that it might attract the one or two men in the room who met her exacting standards for an ideal investor. She was not dressing for the men who were there. She was dressing for the man she hoped times might be there. You, the average man, are not the client she is trying to land. You are the focus group. Your admiring glance is the unpaid labor you contribute to her marketing campaign. You are the crowd outside a velvet rope, and your very presence is what makes the club seem exclusive and desirable to the VIPs she is actually trying to attract. The cold dismissal Alex received was the final, logical step in this process. By rejecting him, she was not just ending an interaction, she was publicly curating her brand. The message was clear. This brand is exclusive. It is not for everyone. Its value is proven by the fact that even good, decent men like this are not qualified to acquire it. So, you must ask yourself this. Are you responding to a genuine, personal signal of seduction? Or are you simply applauding a billboard? Have you been conditioned to offer your admiration so freely that you have forgotten its value? It's time you stop being an unpaid brand ambassador for a product you will never be allowed to own. I don't dress for men. I dress for me. It is, perhaps, the most brilliant and psychologically impenetrable marketing slogan of our era. It is a shield. It is a defense. It is a conversation-ending statement of such elegant simplicity that it leaves the confused man silenced, questioning his own perception. You have heard this phrase, and you have likely accepted it, because to question it feels like an accusation. But as the decoder of this hidden language, I am telling you now, it is the most sophisticated lie a man has ever told, not because it is entirely false, but because it is a masterful, incomplete truth. Let's be clear. On a conscious, emotional level, the woman who says this is not lying. When she puts on a stunning outfit, she does feel a surge of confidence. The feeling of looking powerful, beautiful, and put together is a genuine and valid psychological reward. But our purpose here is not to analyze the feeling. It is to analyze the times function asterisk. The critical question is not times how times it feels, but times why times it feels good in the first place. That feeling of empowerment is the brain's reward mechanism for successfully executing a primal, evolutionary strategy. It feels good because, on a deep biological level, her brain knows that this display of value has just increased her status, expanded her options, and fortified her position on the invisible battlefield. She is a CEO who has just launched a revolutionary product. Of course, it feels good to innovate and lead her company, but the entire system of innovation exists within a competitive market. The personal satisfaction is the times result, times of a successful competitive act, not its primary function. Imagine if Alex could have asked Chloe why she chose that dress. Her answer, inevitably, would have been, "I'm just wearing it for me. It makes me feel good." She isn't being dishonest. She is simply giving the title of the press release, not the details of the corporate strategy. Her outfit is for her, in the same way a knight's gleaming armor is for him. It makes him feel powerful, protected, and confident. But its times function, times is for the tournament, for the battle, for the eyes of the king and the other knights. The feeling is internal. The function is relentlessly external and competitive. For a man, this phrase is a psychological masterstroke of deflection. It takes an inherently public act, a broadcast, and reframes it as a private act of self-care. It invalidates his natural reaction, his attraction, his confusion. His simple act of noticing is rendered illegitimate. The subtext is, your response is irrelevant because you were never the intended audience, which leaves him feeling like a foolish intruder, a voyeur at a private ceremony. He was, by his very biology, invited to witness. It gaslights him into believing his perception is the problem. Your task is to separate the stated motivation from the functional outcome. A lioness does not stalk the savannah because she enjoys the exercise. She does it because she is a lioness, and she is designed to hunt. The feeling of a successful hunt is the justification, not the cause. You must learn to see the hunt, especially when you are told it's just a walk. The first and most ruthless law of luxury marketing is this: value is a direct function of scarcity. The desirability of any asset, from a diamond to a supercar, is determined not by its utility, but by its perceived inaccessibility. The things we desire most are not those that are easily obtained, but those that we are made to believe we cannot have. This principle does not just sell designer handbags. It is the central driving engine of modern female attraction strategy. You have been taught to look for signs of interest. You are looking for a green light. You must understand that in the high-stakes marketplace of attraction, the most powerful signal is a brilliant, flashing red light. It is a declaration of unavailability. An eager, constantly available woman is perceived as a low-value commodity. A woman who is busy, selective, and seemingly uninterested is perceived as a high-value, limited-edition luxury good. The marketing, therefore, is not about showcasing availability, but about masterfully performing time scarcity. Let us return, once more, to Chloe. Her dress was the advertisement for the luxury product. It was the glossy, high production value commercial, but it was her Time's behavior, Time's her coldness, her disinterest, her swift dismissal of Alex that set the price. Her rejection of a perfectly viable suitor was a public act of restricting the supply. It was a message broadcast to the entire room. This product is not for the mass market. It is not easily acquired. The barrier to entry is extremely high. Alex's mistake was in failing to understand this economic performance. He saw an advertisement and, like a logical consumer, walked into the store to inquire about the product. He did not realize he was at an exclusive auction, and his polite inquiry was the equivalent of offering $100 for a Picasso. He was not just rejected. He was, from a strategic standpoint, used. His dismissal served to enhance the product's mystique and increase its perceived value for the Time's actual times. High-status bidders in the room, the men who understand and thrive on the game of acquiring scarce assets. This tactic is psychologically devastating for the average man because it triggers a primal, competitive instinct. The paradox of the signal, look at me. The dress combined with you cannot have me. The behavior is what creates the intoxicating challenge. It is the engine of the chase. It is designed to filter out men like Alex, who are looking for genuine, straightforward connection, and to attract two other types of men: the ultra-high status man, who sees her as a peer and is undeterred by the price, and the man who is willing to overinvest his time, resources, and energy to prove he is worthy of the purchase. You must learn to distinguish between genuine, organic disinterest and the calculated performance of scarcity. One is a simple lack of connection. The other is a sophisticated marketing tactic. One is a closed door. The other is a velvet rope with a bouncer, designed to make you desperately want to get inside. So ask yourself, are you drawn to a woman because of who she is, or are you mesmerized by the challenge of her manufactured unavailability? Are you pursuing a human being, or are you bidding in an auction you were invited to, only to drive up the price for someone else? The first step to reclaiming your sanity is to recognize that the scarcity is not an accident. It is the most important feature of the product. For all of human history, a woman's marketing campaign was limited by physics. Her audience was the village, the ballroom, the office, a finite number of people in a specific location. Her value, however high, was calibrated against a local market. The digital age has annihilated this limitation. Social media is not a photo album. It is a 24/7 global auction house, a perpetual stock market for sexual value. and your attention is the currency that causes the stock to soar. Every principle we have discussed, intrasexual competition, status signaling, the scarcity principle, is amplified 1,000-fold by this digital engine. A single, perfectly curated photograph is an advertisement broadcast to a potential audience of millions. The likes and comments that pour in from hundreds or thousands of men are the validation, the social proof, the market data that says, this asset is in high demand. This is the engine of value, hyperinflation. The vast quantity of low-investment male attention is harvested and leveraged as proof of elite status, solidifying her brand for her true audience, her female rivals, and the top-tier men she considers her peers. Imagine Alex nursing his rejection, later finding Chloe's Instagram profile. What he finds is a fortress of hyperinflated value. It is a meticulous curation of her peak moments, posing on a yacht, laughing at an exclusive restaurant, a casual selfie where the light just happens to look like a professional photo shoot. Each image is a calculated advertisement, and below each one, the evidence of her market value. 2,347 likes. Comments from a legion of anonymous men. Goddess, perfection. Wow, Alex is not just competing with the men at the bar anymore. He is competing with a ghost army of 2,347 supplicants. The sheer volume of this digital validation creates an almost impenetrable aura of desirability. It is the ultimate performance of scarcity. When her direct messages are a constant stream of offers from men around the globe, her dismissal of a normal, polite man in a bar is not just a possibility. It is a statistical necessity. Her rejection filter must be set to an impossibly high level simply to manage the volume. This is the source of the profound disconnect that demoralizes so many men. You are interacting with a woman in the real world, but her sense of her own value is being calibrated by a digital world that bears no resemblance to reality. You are a single, real-life data point attempting to compete with the aggregated data of 1,000 online admirers. You are destined to be seen as a statistical rounding error. The person you meet is not just a person. They are the CEO and lead model of their own brand, Chloe Inc., and their stock is trading at an all-time high. You must understand this dynamic to preserve your own sanity. You are not interacting with a person online. You are interacting with their marketing department. You are viewing a highlights reel, a trailer for a movie that has been edited to perfection. The validation of 1,000 anonymous men is the fuel for this engine of hyperinflation. The first and most critical step to breaking this spell is to withdraw your own contribution. Stop being unpaid labor for a marketing campaign. Stop validating a stock price that is detached from any real-world value. Log off from the auction house. Your worth is not determined by their stock, and the path to a genuine connection cannot be found on a screen. You are not just confused. You are being actively gaslit. Every major institution of modern culture, from academia to the media to the corporate HR department, has united to promote a narrative so dominant that it invalidates your own senses. You are being systematically taught to distrust the evidence of your own eyes. You are told that the powerful signal you are biologically programmed to receive does not exist, and that if you dare to acknowledge it, you are not just mistaken, you are malicious. The central tenet of this societal gaslighting is a simple, powerful, and deeply incomplete idea that a woman's public presentation is a purely personal act of self-expression, a journey of empowerment that exists in a vacuum, completely detached from the billion-year-old realities of sexual selection. Any man who suggests otherwise, any man who even implies that a sexualized display might be intended to elicit a sexual response, is immediately branded as entitled, objectifying, and a product of the patriarchy. His biological reality is pathologized. Let's imagine Alex, our confused engineer, trying to articulate his experience. He turns to a friend, perhaps a modern, well-meaning female friend, and tries to explain his frustration. "I just find it confusing," he might say. "I see what looks like a very clear signal, but when I respond to it, even politely, am treated like a criminal. I don't get it." How would his friend, conditioned by the dominant narrative, likely respond? She would recite the script. "But she's not dressing for times you asterisk," she would insist. "Why do men always think everything is about them? It's about her feeling confident. Her body is not for your consumption." Notice the immediate reframing. Alex's genuine confusion about a mixed signal is instantly dismissed as male entitlement. His experience is invalidated. His attempt to understand is twisted into an accusation of ownership. He is not heard. He is diagnosed with a moral failing. After a few such interactions, what does a logical man like Alex do? He learns to shut up. He stops trusting his own judgment. He internalizes the blame. He begins to believe that his natural, biological response is a toxic impulse, a shameful secret to be suppressed. He is the one who is broken. He is the one who must be fixed. This is the very definition of being gaslit, being manipulated into questioning your own sanity and perception of the world. The support systems that should offer clarity instead amplify the fog. The media bombards you with hypersexualized imagery of women on one channel, while running segments that condemn the male gaze on the next, never acknowledging the profound psychological dissonance this creates. Corporate training seminars teach you to view your own masculinity as a problem to be managed, a potential liability. You are taught a long list of things you must never do, but you are given no map for the world as it actually is. Your confusion is not a personal failure. It is the predictable, engineered outcome of a culture that refuses to have an honest conversation about biology, attraction, and strategy. They have tried to convince you that the fire you see is not hot. They have tried to convince you that the billboard is a private diary entry. Your first act of rebellion is not to get angry. It is to quietly, firmly, and resolutely trust your own perception. You are not the problem. You are a man trying to read a map of a territory that your culture insists does not exist. We have dissected the marketing, decoded the signals, and exposed the societal gaslighting that has fueled your confusion. Now, we build the escape route. But this is not an escape from a person. It is an escape from a mental prison. It is a strategic plan to reclaim your perception, your focus, and your sanity from a culture that profits from your distraction. This is your playbook. Study it. Live by it. Asterisk, asterisk. Stage 1. Radical acceptance. Asterisk, asterisk. Your freedom begins not with an action, but with a silent, internal surrender. You must accept reality as at times is asterisk, not as you wish it were, and not as you have been told it should be. Accept that the dynamics we have discussed are at play. Accept that much of what you perceive as a personal invitation is, in fact, impersonal marketing. Accept that you have been conditioned to misinterpret the signals. Do not fight this reality. Do not despair over it. Simply accept it with the calm detachment of a strategist observing the battlefield. This acceptance is the bedrock upon which you will build your new mind. It is the end of your frustrating war with reality. Asterisk, asterisk. Stage 2. Mental and social recalibration. Asterisk, asterisk. This is where you forge your tools. You must consciously rebuild your internal and external worlds to serve your new understanding. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Detach your ego. Asterisk, asterisk. This is the most critical practice. You must train yourself to observe the performance without emotional participation. See the stunning dress, the provocative photo, the cold dismissal, not as a reflection of your worth, but as simple data points in another person's strategy. You are a scientist observing a phenomenon, not a fan being rejected by a celebrity. This detachment is your shield. It neutralizes the sting of rejection and the intoxicating lure of the chase. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Redefine your metrics for success. Asterisk, asterisk. For years, your ego has been tied to your success in this game. You must give it a new job. Your value as a man is not determined by your ability to attract the woman with the most effective marketing. From this day forward, your value is determined by your purpose, your physical and mental discipline, your integrity, and the strength of your bonds with other men. Shift your entire focus from times being chosen, times to times building a life of such value that your choice is the one that matters. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Curate your information diet. Asterisk, asterisk. You would not eat poison. Stop feeding it to your mind. Unfollow the social media accounts that function as the hyperinflation engine. Stop consuming articles and shows that promote the gaslighting narrative. Your attention is your most precious resource. Invest it in knowledge that strengthens you, not in marketing that weakens you. Asterisk, asterisk. Stage 3. Calibrated action. Asterisk, asterisk. Your actions in the world must now be driven by your new reality. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Become the selector, not the selected. Asterisk, asterisk. Your default state is no longer, how can I get her? It is, what am I looking for? You are the investor now, screening for the assets that matter. Character, kindness, respect, and genuine compatibility. You will find that the woman with the loudest marketing is often the poorest long-term investment. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Filter for seduction, not status. Asterisk, asterisk. Armed with the knowledge from Chapter 3, you now ignore the billboard. You ignore the loud, impersonal broadcast of status. You act only when you observe the quiet, targeted whisper of seduction. Genuine eye contact, personal questions, a clear interest in times who you are. Asterisk. Not just in who is watching. Asterisk, asterisk. Stage 4. Navigating the new reality. Asterisk, asterisk. Escaping the mental prison has consequences. The primary consequence is clarity. You will begin to see the matrix everywhere, and you will not be able to unsee it. This clarity brings peace, but also new challenges. You may be accused of being cynical or jaded for no longer participating in the collective illusion. Do not defend yourself. Your goal is not to win an argument, it is to maintain your own peace. The ultimate reward is freedom. Freedom from the emotional roller coaster, freedom from validation seeking, and freedom from the gnawing frustration of a game you were never meant to win. You are no longer a consumer. You are the architect of your own mind. The first thing you will notice is not a thunderclap of victory, but a quiet stillness. The frantic, buzzing noise of the 24/7 auction house in your head will begin to fade. The gnawing anxiety, the desperate need for external validation, the exhausting calculus of the game, it will all begin to loosen its grip. For the first time in a long time, you will experience the profound, grounding peace of a man who has simply stood up and walked away from a rigged table. This is the beginning of your rebirth. This new life is not without its own challenges. You will, at times, feel like a man who speaks a different language. You will listen to your friends who are still trapped in the game, complaining about being left on read, obsessing over a woman's social media, chasing the intoxicating high of a fleeting validation, and you will feel a sense of profound distance. Their anxieties are no longer your anxieties. This can be a lonely position. The world will not celebrate your clarity. It may even label you as cynical for refusing to participate in the collective fantasy. You must understand the difference. A cynic believes in nothing. A realist, like you, simply refuses to believe in illusions. The intoxicating magic of the chase will vanish, and you will need to mourn its loss. That drama was a powerful drug, and the quiet stability of reality can feel bland by comparison. This is the withdrawal. You must endure it to get to the other side, because on the other side is a form of self-esteem so solid it will change the very foundation of your life. Your confidence will no longer be a fragile thing, granted or revoked by a woman's glance or a match on your phone. It will be forged in the fire of your own actions. It will come from the project you complete at work, the new personal record you set at the gym, the book you read, the skill you master. It will be real, and it will be yours. No one can give it to you, and no one can ever take it away. Your relationships with women will transform. No longer distracted by the loudest marketing, your senses will become attuned to the quieter, more meaningful signals. Genuine kindness, shared humor, intellectual curiosity, and unambiguous integrity. You will begin to attract a different kind of partner, one who is interested in the man you are, not the status game you are willing to play. Imagine Alex, 6 months later. He is not a swaggering caricature of masculinity. He is simply centered. He is excelling in his career. He has invested his reclaimed time and mental energy into a passion project. One afternoon, he is reading in a quiet cafe. A woman asks him about his book. The conversation is easy, grounded, and authentic. It is a meeting between two people, not two marketing departments. It may lead somewhere, or it may not. The outcome is no longer the point. The quality of the interaction, the genuine human connection, is the reward itself. This is the rebirth. It is not about becoming a player who has mastered the old game. It is about becoming an architect who is building a new one, with new rules, on his own terms. The man you were was a reflection in a hall of mirrors. The man you are becoming is a fortress, built day by day, in the quiet, steady fire of his own purpose. You are no longer a character in someone else's story. You are the author of your own.